Hi, and buenos dias. I'm Jameeka Green Aaron. Thank you so much for the invitation to speak to this incredibly important community. I am the Chief Information Security Officer at Auth0, which is a product unit of Okta. Again, really excited to be with you and to talk about a couple of important things today with regards to identity and access management. One of the things that I like to say about identity and access management and what we do at Auth0 and Okta is that we protect the most important part of identity, and that's you, the consumer and the consumer's consumer. And so we're really thinking about this from a technology perspective in that we drive the world forward by protecting people. You are our most important resource. And so the three topics that I want to touch on today are SIAM. What is it? Why do we use the term? I'm going to talk a little bit about our newest product from Auth0, which is Credential Guard. And then I'm also going to share a little bit about the state of secure identity, which is one of my favorite reports to brief. And hopefully I'll get the chance to do that with you one day. But it's also incredibly insightful. It essentially takes what we do at Auth0 and gives that information to you so that you can better protect your SIAM platforms and your identity and digital identity platforms. So we're going to dive right in. Let's talk a little bit about SIAM and what is it and what that term really means. SIAM is short for Customer Identity and Access Management. And essentially, it is a part of the larger IAM space or Identity and Access Management space. And it's the part of that space that manages authentication and authorization for our customer identities. And it's really important for public-facing applications. These are the applications that require users to register. They register identities like gmail.com or 123.com, and they essentially use those identities to create accounts within your public-facing applications. Some of the key features of SIAM include self-service. So the idea that there is self-service built in that you can do this yourself. This is not something that requires a lot of code. It's not something that requires a large development team. It's essentially plug and play for the developer community. And essentially, the users can create, register their accounts. The second thing is self-service registration. And then also password and consent management. And I think this is also an important part of what SIAM offers. It essentially allows the ability for the user to offer consent around how that identity will be used, and for us as the managers of those identities to make sure that we're protecting the privacy of those users. And then finally, it also provides authorization to applications, identity repositories, analytics that we can use in the background to help us protect those identities, and then APIs and SDKs for mobile applications. So essentially that social identity login, so they can log in using their Facebook profile or other profiles and logins that are already created. This is critically important, I think, to how SIAM helps enable the business. Allowing those social identity logins and logins through biometrics allow for us to create a passwordless environment, which we know passwordless is the way of the future. We don't want to continue to use passwords in the way that we have traditionally, because they are very it's easy to compromise them. They lay out a space where they can be compromised because we're all creatures of habits and we like to reuse passwords. So I'm going to talk a little bit about that as I wrap up SIAM and some of the things that SIAM does. I'm going to give you some ideas about the ways in which we can manage passwords a little bit better. As a CISO, one of the things I keep saying is if you have a password manager, use it. But if you don't, you're using that traditional password. So you're always thinking of ways in which you can create creative passwords that you can remember. Again, being a creature of habit, we tend to go back to the things that we remember the best. And so one of the new products that we have at Auth0 is Credential Guard. And what exactly is Credential Guard? Credential Guard. It's a little bit of a tongue twister. Credential Guard essentially upgrades our existing breach password detection tools. And it is this idea that we have these dedicated security teams that are there monitoring our platforms 24/7, making sure that our passwords are not breached, and thereby our admin credentials are not breached, and our users are not getting their credentials stolen and used for nefarious purposes. And so behind the scenes, Auth0's product is constantly scanning to make sure that your users' passwords and their credentials haven't been stolen. Credential Guard is an add-on to that. So it gives our application builders the tools to secure their apps and protect their credentials from stolen, protect their users' credentials from our stolen, from our bad actors. And so essentially, what it does is it enables us to screen for stolen passwords. Once it screens for stolen passwords, the user is automatically alerted with a prompt for additional verification, right? And so what that will do is it'll say, hey, we think this might not be you. It will give you a prompt, or it gives your users a prompt for additional verification. If that verification is not completed, it essentially blocks access and forces a password reset. This is a big, huge deal, because by automating this process, it is going to put protections in place around your users to keep their credentials from being stolen. And we talk a little bit about credential stuffing in the state of secure identity. And that's the idea that once those credentials are stolen, they can be used to mimic the user, or to phish the user through other credentials. So if they take my credentials, for example, I'm using Jameeka at gmail.com. Those credentials are stolen from your application. Jameeka is a creature of habit. And so Jameeka at gmail.com, for example, would be using that same username and password throughout various infrastructures and throughout various public facing applications. Once they have that username and password, they can use that throughout other places where I may have reused it. Credential Guard is going to shut that down, because they're not even going to allow them to steal the credential. They're not going to allow them to take the user's password. And it's also going to go in and force a password reset. It also adds more visibility and speed to your dedicated security teams. And so essentially, it's going to make sure it's using observability, which is a key function, I think, for CISOs around the world. Observability is this idea that we're leveraging automation to help us be better security teams. So Credential Guard is leveraging automation by automatically blocking access, and then also asking for a password reset with the users. So huge deal. Go out to auth0.com and take a look at it. It's one of our newest products amongst the many new products that we're adding. And again, it's an add-on to our existing tools. And so make sure you go out and you turn Credential Guard on. I think it's going to be critically important to allowing not just my security teams, but your security teams and you to build upon what we've already done around breach password detection. And then finally, a little bit about Auth0's state of secure identity. This is absolutely one of my favorite reports to brief on. It essentially takes what my team and the product security team learns through our insights on the back end of managing your credentials and managing your access to SIAM. It takes all of those things that we learn as a real boots on the ground security team, and it takes that information and creates a report that gives you data and analytics around what's happening in the space, what we can see in our space. And so some of the things that we talk about in the report, or we talk about credential stuffing. So we talk about that theft of credentials and how those are used to monetize, how those are used on the black market to monetize the bad actors. We talk a little bit about multi-factor authentication. Multi-factor authentication is turning out to be one of the biggest things that one of the biggest tools that we have in our toolkit as security professionals to really help us stop theft of credentials and stop unintended access to our enterprises. And so we talk a little bit about enabling multi-factor authentication and how important that is. And then we also just give you some general statistics and details around what we're seeing behind the scenes around SIAM and around protection of personal and digital identities. And so looking forward to the work that our team is doing right now for that 2022 report. Our 2021 report is out right now. You can find that on auth0.com. Our state of secure identity report is available to support your team. It's in 35 languages and it's available in more than 200 countries. And that again will help you reduce breach detection by really having that data that we have to help you enable your security teams and enable your development teams. It has been such a privilege talking to you, and I'm looking forward to meeting you in person one day. Until then, I'll see you soon, and please take the time to download our reports and ask us any questions that you have. We're happy to support you.